Don't forget to subscribe!
Hello, and welcome back to another video of Team Pikachu Reviews. In this fun episode, we're going to be talking about... Yugi, will you do the honors?
Yu-Gi-Oh! Duel!
Monsters. Much like with the Sonic X review, we'll be splitting it into 9 episodes covering all the original series as a celebration of the 20th anniversary of the Fox Box for Kids Entertainment TV's block, the show's 20th anniversary, and the series' 25th, and the 10-year anniversary of Konami Cross Media. So, let's start with the original author and creator, Kazuki Takahashi.
Special thanks to Frederator Studios Fanimpedia and the YouTubers for the info.
Where was Kazuki Takahashi?
Kazuki Takahashi's one-shot manga, In Love Ball, in 1981, submitted under the pen name Hajime Miyabi, and he won the Shogakukan New Comic Award and was published on Weekly Shonen Sunday the same year. His serial debut in 1986 was Gokyu Choji Ikiman, an adaptation of the TV sports anime of the same name, and it was published in Kodansha's Weekly Shonen magazine. In 1990, his one-shot Tokyo no Taka was published on Shueisha's Weekly Shonen Jump. Another manga, Tenenshoku Danji Bure, was published in the magazine from 1991 to 1992. In a 2002 interview, Takahashi later called much of his early manga work a total flop. In 1996, Takahashi launched Yu-Gi-Oh! Under the pen name Kazuki Takahashi in Weekly Shonen Jump, where it was serialized until 2004. The series became a huge success and has sold more than 40 million copies. The series has also received several media adaptations, notably an anime series and a trading card game developed by Konami, which holds the Guinness World Record for being the best-selling trading card game in history, with more than 25.1 billion cards sold as of 2011. Takahashi continued to supervise the Yu-Gi-Oh! Franchise until the following end of the original manga's run. In 2013, his one-shot manga Drump was released on Weekly Shonen Jump. In 2015, Takahashi received the Inkpot Award from the Comic-Con International for his outstanding contributions to the comics. In 2018, Takahashi published the limited series The Comic on Weekly Shonen Jump. Takahashi also wrote a 2-part manga titled Secret Reverse for the Marvel X Shonen Jump Plus Super Collaboration, which was released on Shonen Jump Plus in September 2019. In 2001, following the success of Pokemon the series, former film and TV production company 4Kids Entertainment,
It's history's greatest monster!
as I was saying, acquired the license with TV Tokyo Nihon as Systems and Studio Gallop to air the show, but they had to change some scenes to appeal to its target demographic with Kids WB, so death was removed along with guns and was replaced with the Shadow Realm. And certain characters survived, like Mikey, who was dead in the sub, but Konami changed his fate to have him survive, but was captured and kidnapped. Dylan from Yu-Gi-Oh! Everything explained that kidnapped or exiled means that they have been killed in the dub. After 4Kids acquired the license, they decided to premiere the show on September 15th, but Kids WB decided to push the show back by 2 weeks due to 9/11, one of the worst things that ever happened to our country. Not only that, the names were changed as well. So now we're going to talk about the 9 stories: Duelist Kingdom, Domino City Battles, Battle City Part 1 and Part 2, Noah's World, Waking the Dragons, Duel of the Lost Souls, Grand Championship, Pharaoh's Memories, and the Ceremonial Battle. So then...
This is just too cute! Marvelous for real!
So now we'll go over the first arc, Duelist Kingdom. So grab your Battle City Duel Discs and Blue Eyes White Dragon, cause this is our review of Yu-Gi-Oh! Duel Monsters. Let's begin with Yugi narrating the backstory. Yugi?
Long ago, when the pyramids were still young, Egyptian kings played a game of great and terrible power. But these shadow games erupted into a war that threatened to destroy the entire world, until a brave and powerful pharaoh locked the magic away, imprisoning it within the mystical Millennium items. Now, 5,000 years later, a boy named Yugi unlocks the secret of the Millennium Puzzle. He is infused with ancient magical energies, for destiny has chosen him to defend the world from the return of the Shadow Games, just as the brave Pharaoh did 5,000 years ago.
Very nicely done. Now then, let's kick off things with the plot. At Domino High School, Yugi is teaching his friend Joey Wheeler how to play Duel monsters, while Tristan Taylor, Taya Gardner, and Bakura Rio watch. Tristan jokes that Joey looks cute when he is thinking. Joey shows Tristan the cards, explaining that they're playing Duel monsters. Tristan looks at him blankly and asks, "Drooling monsters?" Joey pushes him away, and Taya says that they have been at it for hours. Joey is starting to get the hang of it, but Yugi is an expert. As Joey plays Kagemusha of the Blue Flame, Taya explains to Tristan that each monster has an attack power and a defense number, and the first duelist to eliminate their opponent's life points wins the duel. Joey is pleased with his move, and although Yugi agrees it was good, he plays Blackland Fire Dragon, which is powerful enough to defeat Joey. Tristan teases Joey's skill, but Yugi assures Joey that he played alright. Yugi just has better cards, he tells him, which is because his grandfather owns a game shop where he gets all the good cards. Joey gets fired up to visit the shop, and Yugi talks about a super rare card his grandfather has. A few tables across, a brown-haired boy is reading Also Scratch Zarathustra. In the dub, the cover of the book is blank. He overhears Yugi's conversation and wonders if the rare card is the one he has been searching for. And so after school, Yugi and his friends, Joey, Tristan, and Taya, arrive at his grandfather's shop. He asks his grandfather if he could show them his rare card. Solomon thinks about it, laughs, and says, "How can I refuse?" He produces a decorative box and tells them that they are in for a treat, and he does not usually take this card up. He holds up the Blue Eyes White Dragon card, telling them it is so rare and powerful that he never lets it leave in his hands. The kids are impressed apart from Tristan, who grabs the card from Solomon's hand, remarking that he does not see anything special about it. Solomon snatches it back, insisting that the card is priceless. There are only 4 of them in the world. As Joey prepares to trade for the other cards, the brown-haired boy enters the shop carrying a briefcase. Solomon asks if he can help him, and the boy says if he cannot, it would surprise him. The kids are surprised to see Seto Kaiba here, as he has a big company to run. Kaiba explains that he is here to see the card. Joey is glad to hear that Kaiba plays Duel monsters too, and suggests that they could all duel together. Kaiba mocks the idea, saying he would have more of a challenge playing solitaire. He is the #1 ranked duelist in the country, and the favorite to win the Duel Monsters World Championship. Joey is intimidated and suggests that they settle with fists instead of cards. Yugi steps in between them and tries to calm Joey down. So Kaiba sees the Blue Eyes White Dragon on the table in its case. He rushes over to it, shoving Yugi aside. Solomon takes the card away and asks if there is anything else he can help him with. Kaiba slams the briefcase on the counter and opens it, showing it is full of Duel Monsters cards. He offers to trade all of them for the Blue Eyes White Dragon, much to everyone's surprise. Solomon declines, and Kaiba then attempts to buy the card, asking Solomon to name the price. He can pay for anything he asks. Solomon refuses and explains that he does not want to give it away because it was given to him by a dear friend. So he treasures the card. Kaiba leaves, realizing it is useless trying to get it peacefully. So as Kaiba leaves in his limousine, he is sickened by Solomon's attitude about the heart of the cards. He believes the cards are all about power, and one way or another, the Blue Eyes White Dragon card will be all his. At the Kaiba Corp building, Kaiba tells his employees that he wants them to pick up something at the game shop. The next morning, Kaiba's butler Hobson and other 2 goons arrive at the game shop. Hobson tells Solomon that his master, Seto Kaiba, challenges him to a duel. Solomon asks what would happen if he was to refuse, and Hobson says that they also must insist. Solomon thinks that Kaiba does not understand, but he will teach him a lesson about the heart of the cards. Yugi and his friends arrive to find his grandfather missing. Suddenly, the phone rings and Yugi answers to only find out that it is Kaiba, telling Yugi that his grandfather was not feeling well and picking up. In the dub, the words "now printing" are removed from a box near the phone. Yugi and his friends make their way to Kaiba Corp, where they find Solomon seriously injured. Solomon tells Yugi that he failed and he tried to teach Kaiba a lesson about the heart of the cards, but he lost. Kaiba appears in the room and states that he defeated Solomon in a duel, and with each of them putting up their most valuable card as the prize. He guesses that playing against a champion like himself was too much stimulation for Yugi's grandfather. Taya accuses Kaiba of cheating, which he denies. In the dub, she tells Kaiba he should be ashamed of himself. Kaiba calls the match fair. So Kaiba holds up the Blue Eyes White Dragon and tears it in half, and Yugi protests that it was his grandfather's most treasured card. Kaiba says that since the deck can only hold 3 copies of each card, the 4th could become an enemy. In the dub, he says that he did not want anyone to use it against him. So Solomon hands Yugi his deck, saying that he put his soul in these cards and taught Yugi everything he knows. He instructs Yugi to take them and teach Kaiba respect for the heart of the cards. Yugi insists that he needs to take him to a doctor, but Kaiba remarks that it sounds like an excuse. Yugi's friends offer to take Grandpa to the hospital, while Yugi faces Kaiba. Yugi is unsure, but the others offer support. Joey reminds Yugi that he used to love fighting, but it was Yugi who changed him, and he can do it. In the dub, Joey says Yugi is the best duelist he's ever seen and has the Millennium Puzzle. He knows Yugi can do it. Before Yugi leaves, Taya uses a marker to draw a smiley face symbol of friendship on everyone's hands. She says that even though the ink will wash away, they will always remember the circle of their friendship. In the dub, she says that when Yugi is dueling, he will know he is not alone. They will all be right there with him. As Taya, Tristan, and Joey take Solomon to the ambulance, Taya suggests that Joey should stay behind to support Yugi. Kaiba takes Yugi to a virtual stadium. Kaiba says that he designed the stadium himself and thinks Yugi will agree that it will add a bit more life to the game. Kaiba says that they will play using Kaiba's special rules. In the dub, he says that they will each begin with 2,000 life points and the first player to hit 0 loses. Yugi activates the Millennium Puzzle and changes into Yami Yugi. And Kaiba is slightly startled by Yugi's change in attitude. Yugi now says, "Now Kaiba, it's time to duel!" Kaiba goes first and summons a Hitotsume giant. A hologram of the monster emerges onto the field. Yugi is surprised to see the monster come to life. Kaiba explains that it is his virtual simulator. It creates lifelike holograms of every duel monster. Yugi realizes that this is how Kaiba beats Solomon. Yugi starts his turn and summons Winged Dragon, Guardian of the Fortress. At this point, Joey arrives at the duel and is shot by the presence of the monsters. The 2 monsters get ready to battle, and Yugi commands Winged Dragon, Guardian of the Fortress to use its fireball attack. Winged Dragon, Guardian of the Fortress launches a fireball at Hitotsume Giant, destroying it and lowering Kaiba's life points to 1,800. Mokuba Kaiba rushes into the room, asking his brother if he is okay, while Joey celebrates on Yugi taking out one of Kaiba's monsters. Kaiba then says he should have started with a handicap this size anyway. In the dub, he says, "Well played for a beginner." He asks how Yugi will stand against this and summons Sagi the Dark Clown in attack position. Yugi is puzzled. As the monster has only 600 attack, but Kaiba combines it with the magic card Negative Energy Generator, tripling its attack. Negative Energy Generator has different artworks in the dub and Japanese versions. Sagi's attack goes up to 1,800. Kaiba orders Sagi the Dark Clown to attack Winged Dragon, Guardian of the Fortress with Dark Light. Sagi launches a ball of energy at its target and destroys it. Yugi's life points drop to 1,600. Yugi thinks Kaiba is good. and he knows every aspect of the game, but his grandpa put all of the gaming knowledge into his heart onto this deck, and he also must believe it holds some secret strategy. He draws right leg of the Forbidden One. Yugi thinks the card is useless because it cannot defeat Sagi, so he sets a monster card in defense position to protect his life points. Kaiba starts his turn and uses Sagi to destroy Yugi's face-down monster, which turns to be Sangan. Joey tells Yugi to hang in there as Kaiba destroys more of his monsters, including Battleseer and Torike. So Kaiba says he can practically hear Yugi's grandpa's dying breath coming from those cards. And in the dub, he says Yugi was not doing any better than Solomon did, and his deck is just as weak and feeble as his grandfather. Yugi argues that his grandfather is a great man and a better duelist than Kaiba will ever be. He can feel his heart in his deck and doubts Kaiba that he has his faith in his cards. Saying he believes in his grandfather's deck, Yugi draws his next card. He tells Kaiba that his faith has been rewarded him with Gaia the Fierce Knight. Yugi summons Gaia and uses it to attack and destroy Saga the Dark Clown, lowering Kaiba's life points to 1,300. Joey compliments Yugi, who invites Kaiba to make his move. Kaiba laughs that the duel will be over sooner than Yugi thinks, and draws a card. He summons Blue Eyes White Dragon. Joey is surprised again and states that it's impossible. And they saw Kaiba tear that card in half, and Kaiba says that Yugi's grandfather is not the only one to possess a Blue Eyes White Dragon. Blue Eyes White Dragon attacks and destroys Gaia the Fierce Knight, dropping Yugi's life points to 900. Kaiba says that, faith or no faith, Yugi will fall before his superior monsters. Faith is for losers, like his grandfather. As more of Yugi's monsters are destroyed by Blue Eyes White Dragon, including Horn Imp and Beaver Warrior, Kaiba states that there is not a card in Yugi's deck that can stand up to a Blue Eyes White Dragon. So he asks Yugi if what hope he has against two, as he summons another Blue Eyes White Dragon. Meanwhile, Solomon is being rushed into the hospital through a vent with Taya and Tristan at his sides. Solomon calls to Yugi, encouraging him not to give up. Back at the duel, Yugi refuses to give up. He draws and plays Swords of Revealing Light, which prevents all of Kaiba's monsters from attacking for 3 turns. Kaiba calls the move desperate and asks Yugi, what good will a 3-turn delay do to you? Yugi thinks Kaiba is right and looks at the cards in his hand. Left arm of the Forbidden One, right leg of the Forbidden One, and left leg of the Forbidden One and Rude Kaiser. The dub mistakenly shows right arm of the Forbidden One instead of the left arm. All of the Forbidden One cards have different artworks in the dub and Japanese versions. He cannot figure out what to do with those cards. They're just pieces. Yugi then hears Solomon's voice. It says to him for someone who has faith. He is giving up too easily, and that sometimes the cards are like a puzzle and you must put all the pieces together in a proper place. Like the Millennium Puzzle? Yugi asks. Exactly, Solomon replies. Each piece helps build a greater entity, like the pieces of a puzzle. Yugi starts to ponder on this and remembers his grandfather telling him about Duel Monster's only unstoppable monster, Exodia. However, Exodia can only be summoned by gathering all 5 parts, a feat that to this day, no one has ever accomplished. Kaiba threatens to treat Yugi's stalling as a forfeit, as if he does not stop. Yugi draws the right arm of the Forbidden One. Kaiba claims that Yugi can draw whatever card he wants and it will not change a thing. Although his 2 Blue Eyes White Dragons are frozen, his new monster is under no such spell. At this point in the series, the effect of Swords of Revealing Light was different than its real-life counterpart. It only affected monsters that were already on the field when it was activated. Kaiba summons Judge-Man, who takes out Yugi's face-down Rude Kaiser. Yugi draws Dark Magician. He thinks he can use this to attack, but it will not stand a chance once Kaiba's dragons are freed. He goes ahead and summons Dark Magician and uses it to destroy Judge-Man. Kaiba's life points fall to 1,000. Kaiba considers this to be a sacrifice which does not faze him. Although his dragon cards cannot attack, he summons his 3rd Blue Eyes White Dragon, which can attack. It attacks and destroys Dark Magician. dropping Yugi's life points to 400. Kaiba asks Yugi how his faith is now. With his blue eyes, white dragons free to attack the next turn, there is nothing Yugi can do. Yugi was never a match for Kaiba. Joey urges Yugi not to listen to him. Yugi realizes that Kaiba wanted the 4th blue eyes, white dragons, just so he would have them all, and then tore it up so it could not be used used against him. He realizes that he must draw the last piece of Exodia, but the odds are against him. He tries to draw, but his deck seamlessly moves away from him. Yugi wonders if the cards are moving away from him, but thinks no. It is just himself that he is afraid to draw. In the dub, he says the deck senses his doubt, and he tells Yugi to concentrate and not lose faith. He notices the mark Taya drew on his hand and imagines his friends are standing there with him. Kaiba tells Yugi to draw his last pathetic card so he can end this duel. However, Yugi says his grandfather's deck has no pathetic cards, but does have the unstoppable Exodia, so he draws Exodia the Forbidden One. Kaiba recoils in horror, protesting that it is impossible. Yugi places the 5 pieces on the field and a large star appears. In the dub, the star has been given more points. The complete Exodia emerges from the star. Kaiba steps back once again, calling it impossible, as no one has ever managed to call Exodia before. Yugi orders Exodia to obliterate. Exodia destroys Kaiba's dragons and drops his life points to 0. Joey cheers and Mokuba looks up in surprise, protesting that his brother never loses. Yugi tells Kaiba that he only plays for power and that is why he lost, but if you put your heart into the game, there is nothing you cannot do. Kaiba wonders how he could have lost. The Eye of Anubis appears on Yugi's forehead, as Yugi tells Kaiba that he will crush the evil in his heart and taps into the power of the Millennium Puzzle, granting Kaiba a mind crush. In the dub, Yugi tells him that if he wants to know how to open his mind, he needs to do it. Kaiba, if you truly want to know, open your mind. Kaiba falls to his knees. Over at the hospital, Solomon wakes up, knowing that Yugi won the duel. Elsewhere, Maximilian Pegasus is informed that the uncontested champion Seto Kaiba has been defeated by someone named Yugi. Maximilian smiles and his golden left eye has flashed in a bright light. The ones who progressed throughout the tournament as follows. For Yugi Moto vs. Joey Wheeler, Yugi Moto won. Yami Yugi vs. Seto Kaiba, Yugi won. Taya Gardner vs. Joey Wheeler, Taya won. Rex Raptor vs. Weevil Underwood, Weevil Underwood won. Maximilian J. Pegasus vs. Yami Yugi, Maximilian won. Weevil Underwood vs. Yami Yugi, Yugi won. Generic Duelist vs. My Valentine, My Valentine won. My Valentine vs. Joey Wheeler, Joey Wheeler won. Mako Tsunami vs. Yugi, Yugi won. Mokuba Kaiba vs. Yugi. It was a draw. Yami Yugi vs. Ghost Kaiba. Ghost Kaiba lost while Yugi won. Generic Duelist vs. My Valentine. My Valentine won once again. Rex Raptor vs. Joey Wheeler. Joey Wheeler won. Yami Yugi vs. Yami Bakura. Yugi won. Panic vs. My Valentine. Panic won. Panic vs. Yami Yugi. Yugi won. Seto Kaiba vs. Joey Wheeler. Seto won. Bandit Keith vs. Maximilian Pegasus and Sam. Maximilian Pegasus and Sam won. Bonds vs. Joey Wheeler. Joey Wheeler won. The Paradox Brothers vs. Yami Yugi and Joey Wheeler. Yugi and Joey won. Yami Yugi vs. the Paradox Brothers. The Paradox Brothers won. Seto Kaiba vs. Yami Yugi. Seto won. My Valentine vs. Taya Gardner. Taya won. Seto Kaiba vs. Maximilian Pegasus. Maximilian Pegasus won. Yami Yugi vs. My Valentine. Yugi won. Bandit Keith vs. Joey Wheeler. Joey Wheeler won. And as for the last 3 ones of Yugi vs. Joey Wheeler and Maximum Pegasus, Yami Yugi won. And as for the Shadow game, Yami Bakura won the battle against Maximilian Pegasus. In addition, the Shadow Realm's minions in the Duelist Kingdom Saga were either erased or they plotted against revenge. Now then, let's go over the battle between Yugi versus Maximilian Pegasus as the spoiler section.
Ah, spoiler alert!
Yami Yugi is on the urge of defeat against Pegasus. He then gets a vision of Solomon Mudo. He eventually tells him that Yugi may not be physically with him, but his spirit still is. When Pegasus tries to read Yugi's mind, Riccardi drew his block because of Taya, Tristan, and Joey spiritually bonding together to support Yugi. So, Yugi wins the duel with help of Magician of Black Chaos. Pegasus is left completely shocked at his loss. Yugi is revived and the shadow bubble dissipates away. Yugi's friends are overjoyed that he is okay and he finally won the duel. But Taya quickly reminds everyone that this is not over yet until Pegasus returns to Kaiba, Mokuba, and Yugi's grandfather's souls like he promised. Yugi then turns around in shock to see that Pegasus has disappeared. Bakura at this point wakes up and calls out to the group. Tristan reveals to Bakura that he got rid of the Millennium Ring as it was possessing him like before. Bakura understands while getting rid of it, while it was probably the right thing to do. Bakura then tells the group he'll keep an eye on Mokuba while the others search for Pegasus. After they leave, the Millennium Ring appears around his neck and Yami Bakura returns. Mokuba's body is no longer of use to Yami Bakura since Pegasus will be returning his soul. But with Pegasus weakened, Yami Bakura states that it's the perfect time to take away his Millennium Eye.
Hey! After Pegasus lost the owners of Duelist Kingdom, gave Joey the money for Serenity's eye surgery, and Yugi got his grandpa's soul back, equaling Solomon has recovered from his coma. But sadly, the worst thing that happened is that Bakura took Max's Millennium Eye and he was put into a coma.
Overall, this was a stop for Yu-Gi-Oh! And at least we got many 2000 kids engaged during the anime booming in the 90s and 2000s. And, to be honest, it was actually very fantastic. We all hope you enjoyed this video. And, remember...
Don't forget to subscribe!
This video is a pain more than it should have, so I'm splitting it into 2 parts.
Thanks for watching. Don't forget to like and subscribe.